here for a long time.
But what if we go 4 more years without getting that?
Then it'll be
from the fan base, Steiny.
Okay.
You lose.
Then it's decision time.
Well,
decision time.
Sure. York is not. He's leaving on his terms.
Who?
What I think and I like about you most this football season, even going back to the Warriors season, you give the fans a voice. You give the fan there is a court the court of public opinion from a fan base. I'm not saying any player or organization make a decision on it, but a fan base can sour on guys that still have their job. Yeah. So for you to say that as smooth as you just said it, you want it. The fan base wants it to happen sooner than later because they see it.
That's great.
Like he's got everything.
That's great.
What he brings to the table and what they have, and that's why you and Evan brought up today. I believe he's being more aggressive because he can be, because he's got on most Sundays the better team, the better roster.
Yeah, and
now he's got a hot shot rookie kicker, Legatron, that he drafted. And now the dude's a weapon so far.
Like, I actually think that, of course, there's always going to be pressure for him to win the Super Bowl. But I think that if you're going to say, Kyle Shanahan's kind of changing a little bit, he's getting more confident, he's getting more aggressive, more assertive, I would say that's because he finally knows he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
So you think that if we want to say he was conservative, that was on his mind,
I don't care. When you go to the NFC Championship 3 times in 4 years,
no doubt,
and you're going to be good again this year, he's got at least 5 more years left.
But you won't say that's why when he was, like, if we just bring up any time he was conservative, you think that was blinding him, like his status, and that's why he was concerned? Like the 4th and 1s. Well, no. That's incredible. The 4th downs that you talked about, they were 26, 29.
You just said he's gotten aggressive because he knows he's got to win a Super Bowl. We don't know that.
Well, no,
just like we don't know.
His roster has gotten so powerful now with the inception of McCaffrey that he's like, why would I? You know what I mean? Like, I'm letting him hang naturally. Not because there's a cloak or I'm asking you, do you think the conservative or bad 4th down plays the last couple of years stem from him thinking about his status?
Not necessarily his status. It's just my thought. My thought is he's been here 6 years. He's in his 7th year.
He's going to be here
It's like, you know what? I'm Andy Reid, and if I don't win it by year 10, go ahead and fire me. I'll go win it somewhere else. But like, he's going to be, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon.
That I agree with.
And that's why I just keep coming back to Super Bowl or bust. What is bust? What does that mean?
I can break it down.
Brock Purdy will be here next year. Kyle Shanahan will be here next year. They'll be missing a guy or two. They'll have to mess around with a salary cap.
The bust is Kyle just Shanahan. When is the parade going to happen? That's the bust part of it, because you're right. The natural use of that word is, you're done. That's not going to happen. But that's why I brought up the fan base and the fan base and the voice from it. They're waiting for that 6. Now, if you don't make the playoffs in some years, Steiny, I get that jump. But when you're getting to that game right before the game and you've been in the game with the same coach, I think it's fair just to say, hey, I recognize your brilliance, bud, but when you going to bring something home?
Yeah. Chiefs want another one. Chiefs fans just as hungry.
Well, they got 2.
Right, so they want it even more than Niner fans who have 5. In other words, the fan base.
See, there we go.
Fan base is a fan base. Oh, but the fans, Steiny, they want what? They want their team to win. They don't want their team to win any more than the Seahawks fans want their team to win.
Right, but it's psychology. The fact that the Niners have been not the Buffalo Bills, but close, that hurts more than just, we were 6-11. We'll get back. But when you're there, and last year, come on, I can't put that at Kyle's doorstep because he lost his quarterback. Forget me throwing shade about throwing the flag. You got there, and it's almost like it didn't happen.
Shanahan's being more aggressive because the Niners are making an effort to start faster this year. That's not a bad point. They want to have NFC Championship at home this year.
They scored against Pittsburgh and they scored against the Rams first possession.
Yeah, always. They always score on those scripted ones. It's
First
once
15.
Kyle gets off script, that's when trouble starts brewing. I'm kidding. Super Bowl or bust means you're really disappointed and you need to make some big changes. Then it's not Super Bowl or bust.
And that ain't yet.
Because they're not making big changes.
What did you call Pat Riley? I keep going to a Don. That's what Kyle is in the eyes of York.
I mean, Steiny, in addition, NFC's full of bad teams, horrible quarterback play, not very good coaching. So Kyle is the sure coach for the Niners. No doubt.
You know what the Niners are? Evan, you tell me if this is not. Because I remember Evan on the pregame, I think it was him and Allen. You did a show for Steiny and I, you and Styles, and you were saying the difference between Debo and Ayuk, and you brought up young ladies. It was one of the greatest analogies ever, and I think you can put this one next to it. Kyle is with this tenure in the Niners, is the good-looking guy that can't go get a phone number at the club. So he keeps coming back, and you're like, Jimmy Garoppolo, you look great. When are you going to bring a number? Like you're doing something fundamentally wrong because you're good looking. You know, and if I was ugly, dude, you'd be like, yeah, I kind of understand you striking out. But when you're that good looking and you're coming back and you can't get a number, we got to talk because that's telling us you're doing or saying something wrong. That's Kyle with the Niners. He's got everything at his disposal. Now all we're asking, bud, is to get that trophy. Tell me that's not 4. Brilliant, dude. Oh, my God.
I don't know why it infuriates me as much as it does that you think 4 years has been an eternity. It is like you just had the nerve to call me impatient. And you're saying, when is Kyle Shanahan going to win it all? Now, you've made a reference to him going into the club, and he can't get a number.
Yeah.
Maybe he's only 24 years old. He just started going into the club.
Okay, that's 2019. You had a 10-point lead in the biggest game
of the
season.
See, you can't do this. You can't say he's a genius on one hand and then say he's got to win the big one before we crown him.
No, I can ask. That's the progression. Natural.
Goo.
Okay.
We are not getting at the point with Kyle Shanahan that his back's up against it.
No, but in my world, if you're going to tell me he's got... Okay, this is just me now. What's about to come out of my mouth are facts. In your world, you can say it means diddly squat, and that's fine, because I think you have. He's had, in the postseason, I won't even say the games, 3 10-point leads in the final quarter.
The Atlanta thing doesn't matter.
Damn it. Atlanta ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm talking about the Super Bowl, the Rams NFC Championship game, and the what's 2?
I'm not helping you.
Yeah, well, that's 2.
He's got to say the Seahawks.
No, there's NFC time. No, they lost that one.
Go ahead.
That was a blowout.
You won it both ways.
No, I'm just saying it's okay to have expectations, Steiny.
I understand that. I understand
That's
expectations. But, like, 4 years or even, let's do 6 years. He's just starting. He's not up against it.
But you're being
that's
dangerous thinking.
No,
because
it isn't.
You're assuming that
dangerous thinking,
this year's going to be, and it may be an NFC Championship. Be careful with that. The mindset. That's all, Steiny.
As opposed to what?
The fact that he's been close. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to 3 NFC Championship games. That's all I'm pointing out.
He could do it for another 6 years.
Why are you giving the participation trophy, it sounds like?
Because he just started his coaching career, for the most part.
Started his coaching career.
This is his 7th year. The first 2 years, they were nothing.
Right, and I'm not holding them accountable for any of that.
No, but you're like, you think 4 years is a long time, and like it's enough time that like you think it's deadline time for him. And I'm saying I got another 6 years with Kyle Shanahan. Now, I'm not saying I don't care if he wins a Super Bowl or not. That's not what I'm saying. Of course, he wants a Super Bowl, but
they all do.
Exactly.
But if you have a 10-point lead, your team in your first crack at it, why does it sound like you're calling the dogs off on how that game ended and what he did? Now, if you want to tell me, Goo, that was his first crack at it, I'm still telling you he's brilliant, but he's still got some growing to do. We all do. What's so wrong with that? Then you follow that, and I'm giving you that.
This 10-point thing you're on, it's unbelievable that, like, again, Kyle's had 3 good years out of the last 4, and he has to win one now. He's got to win one right now. Otherwise what? He's 45 years old, and he's going to be coaching for another 20 years. And he'll hopefully have another chance.
All right, what if Bosa turns into Chubb? What if Purdy turns like
Kyle Shanahan thinks he can put together a good team?
And I'm not selling you on him being his days being numbered here, but from a fan base, Steiny, and from what I hear from him and what I'm watching and how dominant this team is put together and how stacked they are, I don't think it's far-fetched to say, okay, win. Yeah. But if you want to follow me up with the bullhorn and say this guy's got 900 cracks at it, then I would say, where's the competition aspect of it, though? Where's the competition, the gladiator component of, my God, we were there and we let it go? Yeah, or I didn't have my best day.
Nobody's forsaking the future here. We're not looking at this as though they never win a title. I'm looking at it as though Kyle Shanahan's going to be the coach of the Niners for a while, and this window is going to last a little bit. And then when these guys turn over, I'm sure he thinks he can put together another run with. And what I'm saying is, he keeps doing what he's doing. He's going to be the coach here for 30 years, whether he wins it or not, because he will have gotten there every single year. When did Andy Reid get let go? How many years?
It was a lot.
Well, guess what? I'll bet you Kyle has more than that.
Okay.
You know why? Because now we found out Andy Reid was a genius.
No problem with what you just said. I actually agree. I'm looking at comment Chris M on YouTube. Goo, who's your replacement? There is no replacement. What I'm telling you is, in my world, we can talk about Kyle Shanahan and let's just say his shortcomings. I'm using the 19 Super Bowl. We could do an hour podcast. We could do a 4-hour show. And I could bash some of his plays or mismanagement. That doesn't mean my thought of him as a whole changes. Steiny, we can focus on that. Then, okay, you say, Goo, we can't talk about that. We could talk about the 10-point lead in the NFC Championship game to go back to another Super Bowl where you were up 10 points. Am I blaming Kyle? No, but it comes with the territory when you're the coach of a team that's up 10. Okay, you're telling me, Goo, let that one go. There'll be other opportunities. But just to talk about what the now and what happened, there's no harm in that. You're right. He's going to be here probably for 30.
That's right. So it ain't Super Bowl or bust, and it ain't now or never. And I can't, it's really hard to explain, but I'm not letting people try to tell me, I don't want to say it like that, but it's like,
what about people that got 6 months to live? I'm being real, or they're dealing with some health issue. I'm going fan, and they're not going to be around for as long as we think Kyle's going to be around here. And I'm talking about somebody 60, 70 years old, 55 is true. And they want nothing more, than your Niners to win their 6th Super Bowl.
And every 70-year-old fan of any team wants their team to win the Super Bowl. Right. Before they die. Gotcha. And guess what? He might not do it.
And they could be Kyle fans, Steiny, they want to see him win his first Super Bowl. But you're good at it. But the bust part, you're right. There is really a natural use of the word bust is you're out of here. We're going with the new regime. That's not staring Kyle in the face at all. I understand that.
I don't know.
Like McCarthy, other coaches, there's a bust somewhere. Well, Kyle ain't facing bust.
First of all, McCarthy won a Super Bowl. How can you say that?
But not for Dallas.
Really?
And
come on, that's kind of what I mean.
Moved off of him,
what's the sense of Kyle Shanahan winning a Super Bowl if in 10 years he's going to coach somebody else and you'll be like, he's a fraud?
I got another great analogy. If I get divorced and I'm on my 4th marriage and my 4th wife loves me, and I was a jerk to my first wife, that's not going to do anything for the first wife that I divorced, Steiny. So Mike McCarthy.
Right, so don't fire him. Don't fire him then.
Oh, boy.
I mean, honestly.
I'm not advocating for Kyle to be fired. I'm just talking about for the people that tomorrow, we don't know what can pop off, Steiny. They want to see the Niners, who are stacked, get it done early.
I guess what it is like I really do take an exception to this synthetic, this non-realistic timetable of when you better win it all. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not playing into it. You have formulated in your mind, I don't know. Can Kyle win it all? I don't know. There might be something in 8. He probably can, but maybe he can't. And I'm like, it is so premature for that I don't even want to have the discussion for another 5 years. Honest, like, he's 45.
Yeah, right. But, and we did do it. Like, when we came here the day after the Super Bowl against the Chiefs in 19, our job was to break down what we saw. And if criticism came his way, that's valid. But I feel like you're acting like, nah, they lost. Nothing to look at. Nah,
there's not.
That Super Bowl still being brought up by guys like me.
Right. Because you're using the smallest of sample sizes. He didn't, he had some misfortune or whatever. And all of a sudden, I don't think he can win the big one. We'll see if he can win the big one. He seems to pucker up. He seems this. He seems that. I don't know. And it's like, he's been a coach for 6 years in the NFL. It's like, stop thinking like 6 years. 6 years. 6 years is 6 days is 6 years.
Well, you're saying thinking, and I'm using the word asking. Is it too much to recognize this dude's brilliance to get you to that game? And he's gotten his team to that game or games a few times.
Right.
Is it too much to ask because he got you there to win that said game? I don't think it's too much to ask.
Okay. Do we know definitively they've had the best team? Did they have the best team in the Super Bowl?
I'll leave that for you. But if you're up 10 points against your division foe in a championship game to go cash a ticket to go to the game, you're good enough.
Right. So there
you're
it is.
Good enough.
Okay. So just say that because he lost a 10-point lead once or twice, now I'm going to question whether he's clutch or not. He missed one buzzer beater.